Hello everyone, what's Gucci? Hope you're having an awesome day wherever and whenever you're watching this. Yes, I'm gonna continue saying Gucci, fight me. I'm your host Ayman Hassan and welcome back to another video here at Most Amazing Top 10. Now the worst thing I've ever found in my backyard, well I don't have one here but back home when I did, the worst thing was either stray cats, poop, or those small domestic house lizards that you just see everywhere, the tiny ones. Freaky but still tiny. Thankfully, I didn't ever have to encounter anything crazy, although once when I went to Pakistan, there was an eagle in my uncle's bird bath outside and I was like, huh? But unlike me, a lot of people have been faced with quite scary, unexpected things in their backyards, so let's just get into it. This is the top 10 scariest creatures found in backyards. Starting us off with number 10 is the alien. Now in 2015, a woman living in California heard a scream in her backyard and then went outside and found a creature that she literally just could not identify. It looks like a pink, slimy, half-developed creature of some kind with just two legs, or their two arms, I'm not sure, a very prominent butthole and just a large face. People started calling it alien or face hugger. I was really trying to figure out what it was, but it's honestly hard to look at the pictures for a very long period of time without feeling you know what I mean? Reddit users figured out that maybe it was half of a deer fetus that had been chewed on by scavengers or predators, or maybe it was a stillbirth. No one really knows for sure, but you've never quite seen anything like it either. I don't know if I want to recommend to you to take a look, but I feel like I just narrated the story to you, so you should take a look, but I'm sorry if you don't like what you see. Coming in at number 9 is the goanna. Why do so many of these things happen in Australia? The amount of news stories I used to see on Facebook of giant spiders on the ceilings or like a huge lizard outside in Australian homes, I was like, wow, Australians must really know how to deal with these things. I'm impressed. But anyway, in 2015, Thaguna resident Eric Holland was doing some work in his shed when he opened the door and saw this massive goanna run across the grass and then out of sight. Quick fact file if you don't know what a goanna is, because I didn't either. It's basically a giant Australian monitor lizard and my skin is feeling just like, you know, cringy just thinking about it. Reptiles just do something to me, I don't know. It just, yeah, let's not talk about it. But anyway, he ran inside after he saw it as any normal person would, but then he started hearing a banging noise coming from the side of his house. He went outside and saw the goanna hitting the drain pipe with its tail. When a senior reptile keeper came in to check it out, he said, you know, it's not that uncommon to find one, but finding one clinging to the side of your house is not normal. But he did say never approach an adult male goanna since they're very powerful. They have a strong jaw, razor sharp teeth, and claws that can literally rip you apart. So, you know, you're better off just not finding one on the side of your house. At number 8 we have the large cat. Now in 2008, a 9-year-old boy living in the UK ran into his house to tell his mum that there was a literal cheetah in their backyard. His mum obviously didn't believe him and thought he had just seen a large cat, but when she glanced outside the window she realized no, he actually did see a cheetah. She locked her doors, I don't know why, because I doubt the cheetah could just turn her doorknob and come inside, but she locked her doors and called the police. After some digging, the police found out that the cheetah had escaped from a nearby sanctuary and employees were on their way to collect it. The employees were stunned that the boy didn't approach the cheetah or scare it, because when provoked they can obviously be extremely dangerous. Filling our number 7 slot is the whale. I never said the creatures had to be alive, guys, they could be dead as well. Back in 1978, Gary Johnson was in his backyard when he saw this rock sticking out of the ground. Hoping it was something important, he called an expert in to evaluate it, but they said it had zero value. So it sat untouched for 35 more years until 2014, when Johnson found out that a 12-million-year-old whale skull was found very close to where he had found the stone. So he called another expert, and this paleontologist said the rock he found was a 14 to 16 million-year-old fossil. It seemed to be the remains of a baleen whale. Just imagine finding that in your backyard. Imagine finding that but then sitting on it for like 20 years and then coming back to it. Come on people, science cannot wait forever. Now at number 6 is the PLIOSAUR. Back in 1997 in Suffolk, a man called John Lambert found an interesting looking bone in his backyard whilst builders were digging a foundation trench for a new wall. He put the bone in his shed and forgot about it for 16 years, as everybody on this list is seeming to do, and then in 2013 he miraculously remembered the bone. He decided to take it to Ipswich Museum and they found out that it was actually a limb bone from a PLIOSAUR. Now PLIOSAURs were marine reptiles that terrorized theorized to see 60 to 250 million years ago. They were meant to have one of the strongest bites in the world, but the weird part was that they weren't native to the English Sea, so how on earth did the bone find itself in Suffolk? Coming in at number 5 is the fox. Now this one's actually not scary at all, it's very cute, so skip it if you'd like, but halfway through I think it's time for some more comic relief. Or some cute relief, I don't know what to call it. So last year, a woman called Heather who lives in southeast London found a fox in her backyard. And in the winter that's slightly uncommon, but what's even more uncommon is what the fox was doing. Heather, a mum of 2, had a trampoline in her backyard and the fox was just jumping up and down on the trampoline for ages, basically just having a ball of a time. At one point it even jumps off the trampoline, realizes he wants to have more fun, and then jumps back on and rolls around on the layer of snow on the trampoline. It's actually really heartwarming to watch. You should watch it, I think. In 2016, Mundo Alucinante uploaded a video onto his YouTube channel of some weird insect creature that he'd found in his backyard. How many times have I said backyard in this video? Just let me know in the comments below. Now he has no clue what it is. It looks like a giant brown insect of sorts or a hugely mutated grasshopper, I don't really know, but I couldn't watch the video for long because I actually started to feel like it was on me somehow, or like in my pants. Viewers speculated in the comments about what the creature was as well. People said it was a mole cricket, a mutant cockroach, a poop sausage, but I think in the end this alien from the ground ended up being a mole cricket to the unsuspecting finder. But honestly, if I found that, I also wouldn't know it was a mole cricket, so I'd also be like, what the hell's that? Anybody else with me? Filling our number 3 slot is the swimming pool. Now I've heard news stories from Australia where storms have been so bad that somehow due to flooding, sharks have ended up in people's swimming pools. But I also always took those stories with a grain of salt because they just don't feel 100% plausible. But anyway, similarly in Florida, Sharon Bente and her husband started hearing weird noises coming from their backyard in the middle of the night. They went to check it out because for all they know it could have been a robber or something, but it ended up being an 8-foot alligator. I don't know if that's worse than a robber, I'm not really sure, but it somehow got into their yard and was now swimming in their swimming pool with a small floating toy. Had to add that detail as well. They called the sheriff and the alligator was taken to a farm in Arcadia. But like, I just have so many questions. How did it get there? Where did it come from? Oh, that just reminded me of that Cotton Eye Joe song, you know, where did he come from? Where did he go? Where did he come from? Cotton Eye Joe. Lol. Now that's gonna be on the internet forever. Now at number 2 is the python. Now this one also took place in Australia, which I'm honestly not surprised about at this point, but also can we just talk about one thing? I don't get why people keep snakes as pets, and I'm not judging you if you do before you all attack me in the comments, but I'm genuinely curious. Like, I have a cat, she's fluffy, I like to cuddle her. Why do people have snakes? Do they like to cuddle them too? These are genuine questions, I want to know the reasons. Please educate me in the comments below, thank you. But anyway, back to the story. Last year, Trina Hibbard woke up to a 5-meter long python that stretched from her backyard through the open window in her living room and then to her guest bedroom. She said she had seen Monty, obviously she called the python Monty, here and there for the last few years, but she'd never actually seen him inside the house, well, until now. She hadn't seen him in ages and thought he may have found a new snake hangout. Yeah, he did. In your living room, Trina. And finally, at number 1 is Margot Kidder. Now obviously Margot is a human and not a creature, but the way she was found and the state she was found in was quite unsettling, so I was like, perhaps I can include this in the list as well. So Margot was an actress most well known for playing Lois Lane in the Superman film series. She was already battling health and financial troubles and had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder but had refused to accept it. In 1996, she suffered a bad public manic episode because her laptop got a virus and all the files were deleted, including the drafts of her autobiography that she'd been working on for 3 years. It couldn't be retrieved, and so she entered a manic state and disappeared for 4 days. Honestly, if you've ever lost uni work on a laptop, you know how bad that feels. So imagine 3 years of work lost, like that sucks. So after disappearing for 4 days, someone found her in their backyard in Glendale, very paranoid and scared, wearing dirty clothes and missing some teeth because they were knocked out in a rape attempt. But imagine just going out to your backyard one day and finding this famous Hollywood actress in a state you'd never even imagine. You'd be worried, scared, you'd want to help, so many things would be just running through your mind. And that's all for today's video, guys. I'm actually very interested to know what sort of animals or weird things you guys have found in your backyards, because I know for a fact a lot of you have stories, so do leave them in the comments below, as I always try and check and reply to as many of them as I can. But anyways, I've been your host Ayman Hassan, and I'll see you next time. Bye! you.